Hello people, and today we are going to be taking a look at the Super 7-in-1, if I remember correctly what it is called, whatever. Yes, 7 games in one. Got this card a while back, but only got around to reviewing it now because I'm lazy, and every time I recorded this the video would come out in really bad quality for some crazy reason. I don't know why. Apparently this multi-cart doesn't like being reviewed, but I shall put an end to that today. And yes, we have 7 games on this cartridge label thingy. We have King of Fighters 99, great. Well, actually it's not going to be great, it's going to be awful. But Hero Story, which is, well, has Cuneo in it apparently. Power Rangers 3, which does not bode well. Contra 7, again, does not bode well. Presence Ukenda 4. Yes, Presence Ukenda 4. What kind of name is that? Bucky O'Hare, which for some crazy reason has artwork from Star Wars. I don't get that either. And Mighty Final Fight. Yeah, so on that note, let's start the cartridge. So start this up here. I check to make sure the camera's working. Nope, it's about to fall over. Okay, now that the video should be watchable, let's start the game. King Fight 99, which is no doubt going to be a really awful version of King of Fighters, and the TV's a bit too loud, I think. Announced in 1999, or whatever. I like how the 9 looks slightly different from the other 9s, isn't that great? And we welcome both new and old victims teams. Right. Yep, and I'm not going to bother showing you the cutscenes because this game is not worth it, because it is really awful. Or at least I wouldn't show the cutscenes after the bloody thing. There we go. Then you get this character select screen for a bunch of duplicates. I'll pick this bloke because he looks like Terry Bogard even though he isn't. Then you wait about 5 hours for it to select the computer opponent. Seriously, what is the point of the screen? Well, what is the point of that sequence rather? Yes, I'm playing as Clark, who sort of looks like Terry Bogard, and gives joy bounge. Great. Can't say I'm too familiar with King of Fighters myself, but I do like how the ground seems to change colour constantly for no particular reason. Yes, here's a big problem with this game. It moves way too fast, in that you really don't get any time to react, so I just jump around kicking at random. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. It seems to be based on who you're playing against, really. Like Choi Bound seems to be really difficult, for example, and if I remember correctly, Andy Bogard is really easy. So yeah, not very fair, as you might have noticed. And yeah, I lost. And it gives you a seizure when the round ends, isn't that great? So game number 2 is Hero Story by Presence. No, it isn't. It's actually by Technos, but whatever. Yes, as you might be able to guess already, this is in fact Downtown Niketsu Monogatari, which is actually the Japanese version of River Sea Ransom. River Sea Ransom being a great game, which I have played the American version before. For whatever reason, it was rebranded as Street Gangs in Europe. I really don't know why. It's not like I really care, really. Yes, you can literally throw enemies at other enemies. One of the reasons why this game is awesome. Because hey, if you can throw enemies at other enemies, you just whack them on the head. Yes, this is one of my favourite beat-em-ups on the NES, along with Mighty Final Fight, which I will get to later. Yes, you can collect coins to spend in the shops later on. No, you are not throwing the bin at me. Oh, you will throw the bin at me because I wasn't smart enough to block it. And yes, now I'm carrying a bin over my head. Garbage! No, I was just about to do it, then the douche knocked me on the head. Yeah, that's what you get for interrupting my line. Garbage day! Yeah, that's the highlight of the game. Okay, maybe not, but still. Power Ranger 2, even though it was called Power Ranger 3 on the cartridge. Power Rangers 2. Now this is actually Hiryu Sentai Zyuranger for the Famicom, except the title screen is different. There is also another difference which I will point out when I get to it. Yes, it plays the Yellow Ranger, or whatever the hell they call it in the Japanese show. Can't say I'm familiar with Super Sentai. Like, I watched Power Rangers when I was younger. That was about it, if you count that. Which you probably don't. And yeah, as you might have noticed, I have 7 lives, which is kind of ridiculous. Which is, in the original game you had like 3 lives, I think, something like that. And yes, best not to miss the platform, because that's a pretty stupid idea. Yes, you can shoot spiders in the face, because that's what a good game has. Then you can get your sort of upgraded weapons by walking into that door. Yep, Bowser appears. Yes, surprisingly I do know the bloke's name, although I forget where from. It's not from the show, that's for sure. And yes, go down here. Yay, more dots. Yay, getting hit by this idiot. Yay, you can now get to transform into a robot. Yeah. Oh, maybe I'll just get my health back. And on that note, let's go on to the next game, Contra 6. Even though it was Contra 7 on the cartridge. Yes, it is Super Contra 6, which, as you might be able to guess, is Contra Force, which is actually just a game which shouldn't even be Contra, because it was originally going to be called something else. Yes, we have Rambo, Guile, Ryu and Bill, probably the best roster of characters I've seen in any video game. Well, if you don't count Super Smash Bros. That is. And yes, it is basically Contra with super slowdown for the entire game. Yes, trust me, this is... if you have to play a Contra game, you're better off playing for C. Trust me on that. Or in fact, pretty much any Contra game for the PlayStation. Yes, this is the big problem with the game. It tends to slow down a lot, hence detracting from the fun factor. Another problem is that with this particular version of the game, or on this multicart at least, it always crashes when you get to level 3, which is really stupid. Can't reminds me of Hacken 52, which did that. Yay, now I can find bullets which travel across the screen, just like in the real Contra games. And I can get killed jumping onto a truck, because we all know that happens in real life. Present Ukenda 3, even though it was Present Ukenda 4 on the label. And this is... it's Ninja Ryukenden 3. Yeah, who the hell was going to guess that? Well, someone who's played this multicart before, which is probably none of you. Well, actually it's one, because I did buy this off a bloke who's probably going to be watching this. So credits to you, MLJY or MLX, whatever you want to be called. And yes, in this game, well, this particular version of Ninja, well, this is obviously Japanese Ninja Gaiden 3, but this is quite a bit different from the original game in that it's a lot easier. Trust me on that. Like, I've played Ninja Gaiden 3, and it is a lot more difficult. What's funny is that us Europeans didn't even get the third game, we got the first 2. So it's kind of nice to have the third game in this Japanese format. And yes, the game itself looks pretty simple. I mean, for one thing, one reason why this is a lot easier is that, well, you take like half as much damage. Like, if you get hit by an enemy in this game, you take like 1 damage every time you get hit by an enemy. I gotta pick up the wrong power up. No! I don't want to pick up the wrong power up. Oh, I already did. And now maybe take whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called. That's stuff that he needs to attack with. But yes, I'll just finish off the boss here and then we can go on to the next game. And yes, he is down. Great. And yeah, I'm not going to bother with everything else because that would take way too long. So Bucky O'Hare, as you might imagine, yes, it is of course Bucky O'Hare for the Nintendo Famicom. Yes, they even left the copyright in this one, which I think the reason they left the copyright in this one is because if they did change it, then the game would be like incredibly difficult. At least that's what I got from a YouTube video. You can try looking for it if you want, I guess. Let's go on the green planet, might as well. And yes, it is, well, just as it was on the NES really, apart from the fact that it's all in Japanese, which is kind of annoying because I can't read it. But there you go. Pretty best not to buy a Japanese console if you can't speak Japanese, but hey, it's not like I'll make any sense. And yes, I do want that. Yes, it's actually a pretty good little platformer, based off the cartoon, which I never actually watched, I have to admit. I mean, it's a bit from before my time, although that said, I have watched other 80s and early 90s cartoons like Super Mario Bros. Super Show, G.I. Joe, Transformers and all that. Oh, and the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, of course. After all, I did play Sonic the Hedgehog a fair bit when I was younger. But I still do now, to an extent, just not as much, because the new games tend to be shite. And yes, but yeah, getting back into this game, it's just a very good little platformer, somewhat difficult, although it's got to be one of the most forgiving NES games I've ever played. Like literally, if you run out of continues, you restart at like the last portion of the level you was on, which is kind of weird. I mean, usually with Konami games, if you do that, then you get sent back to the beginning of the level, but not this game. Instead, it will just act the same as if you just lost a life normally, which is kind of weird for a Konami game, but at the same time, I cannot complain. And last up is Mighty Final Fight, which, as you would imagine, Capcom presents. Isn't that nice? Yes, as you would imagine, this is, well, Mighty Final Fight, as you're about to see, if I can skip this story. And again, the copyrights are left in. Not entirely sure why, because I have seen other versions of this game where the copyright's taken out and it works just fine. I'll play as Guy, because he is, well, a guy, so might as well. And I keep getting you can't run in this game. Well, you kind of run automatically, but still. And yes. And yeah, jump kick, man! And yes, you have to kill this douche, which I am doing at the moment. And he is out. I keep throwing this guy for some reason. Yeah, it's, well, gameplay-wise, it's a lot different from the other Final Fight games. If you're familiar with the other Final Fight games, then you probably won't be right at home, unless of course you're familiar with this one. Obviously, it's a lot different because, you know, they had to adapt to NES. Or the Famicom, as the case was here, and of course a lot of changes were made. I mean, for one thing, you have this sort of leveling up thing, kind of like an RPG for some crazy reason. Not entirely sure why they did, why they would implement that into a beat 'em up, but then again, I guess you could argue that that River City Ransom has RPG elements in it, so yeah. But yeah, on that note, I will see you later. 6 good games, 1 not so good game. In fact, a pretty terrible game at that. But I will see you later, people. See you!